Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wake Up Call with myself and Alex. We go over the cryptocurrency news and analysis and our weird takes. How's everyone feeling out of 10 today?
I'm going to say 10. I got my deadlifts in before going live today, and I struggled on the same weight earlier this week, but no issues, no issues. And already a question about will we have alt season this year? My goodness, make me want to bang my head against the table. I'm downgrading to a 9.8 out of 10. How
Uh,
are you doing, Devin?
I'm doing fantastic. I say in my Telegram every day when we trade, I say, if you woke up on the right side of the dirt, it's a good day. And if you made money, it's a great day. So today is a great day. Um, so let's get into the analysis. What do we got, Alex? Do we got a bear flag?
I'll let you address the bear flag. I just there's not like anything major specific, any forecasting. I do think we go up. My big thing is the 200-day moving average. I'm just very curious to see what happens when we get there. And right now that's at 92.5, but it's dropping quickly, obviously, because we've spent a decent amount of time under it. So I think that the next move is a move up in the direction of the 200-day, grinding higher, and then we'll see what happens after that. But um, a few small things, that I want to point out here. Well, I mean, one significant thing. I mean, look at all the fears, all the fears in the market, and look how Bitcoin is holding up, even though the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq just continue to put in nonstop red days. S&P 500's below the 200-day moving average. That's people are making a big deal about that. Nasdaq as well, as of right now, below the 200-day. And yet Bitcoin continues to put in higher lows. There were threats. There like from the bears this week, not threats, but comments about how we're going to we've grinded higher. We've taken the stairs up. Now we're going to take the elevator down. And they were running victory laps earlier this week into a higher low. So, okay, congrats, man. We dumped to a higher low. Why did Bitcoin? What were the big reasons why Bitcoin struggled this week? Well, let me point out a couple levels of resistance here that just kind of converged and make it. When you see double resistance like that, it's not going to be easy to break through. And so we've had just 3 weeks trying to break through the early 2024 peak, which also held as support at the bottom in April of 2025. I'm not surprised at all that we would get rejected there. We can see just major trend line resistance here. On the other side of this, man, I do think that we're going to be pretty clear to climb up to that 200-day, maybe get up to the mid 80s, upper lower 90s or something like that. So we'll see about that. A few interesting things about the comments about people who believe we're going lower. It's as obnoxious as the comments of people who were absolutely 100% convinced we were going higher in the fourth quarter. And it's all about probabilities. There's a probability. Are you right? Sure. You know what? Maybe there's a chance, but there's been some very smug comments about how we're definitely going lower and Ski's going to have to shave his head and all that stuff. Okay. All right. We'll see about that. All this time I've been looking at the 200-day moving average as a bottom, and I believe we'll go there. I could see us going there. I'm at this point I'm 50-50. Like
200 day or week?
or sorry, 200 week. Yeah, 200
Okay.
week. So that's at at about 59,000 now, slowly rising. But chart that might interest only me. A more sound currency, the Swiss franc, Bitcoin priced in the Swiss franc. Wow. Okay. Looks like it's held the 200 week perfectly, and maybe this is a statement on the dollar that we shouldn't be even paying all that much attention to dollar valuations and historic valuations and all of that. Bitcoin spent how many weeks? 5 weeks. 5 weeks trying to break down below the 200-week moving average price in the Swiss franc, and it couldn't happen. So zooming in, one more thing I'll say before I hand it over to you, Devin. Oh, no, two more things. We saw this 2022 fractal. If you guys have been paying attention, a lot of people, especially on X, they've been sharing this 2022 fractal. If we were following the 2022 fractal that everyone had been sharing up until this week on X, we would be in the lower 50s or maybe even the $40,000 level right now. And yet here we are at $70,000. So we've deviated from this 2022 fractal, and now I'm paying attention to, all right, when's the next fractal coming? And this is what it's going to look like. You might as well brace yourselves now. Breakthrough trend line resistance.
Brace.
Yeah. And then here's a new 2022 fractal. And this has us going down to $33,000 by August, a little earlier than the scheduled October bottom. So maybe I just didn't overlay it perfectly enough. And hey, you know what? A move up to the 200-day. You're just going to see this. Let's just say I'm right. Okay. Bitcoin does break through trend line resistance, breaks through all that resistance, gets up to the 200-day. As soon as it's at the 200-day, you might as well just brace yourselves. You're going to see fractals exactly like what I have on my screen here. For those on another platform, if you're watching on TikTok, you may or may not need to go to another platform to see what I'm talking about here. Rejection at the 200-day, boom, big drop, more than a 50% drop, bear market bottom in the 30s at the scheduled October bottom, and then that'll be the bottom. All right, so brace yourselves for that, everybody. This will be shoved down your throat on X, on YouTube. We may be live on those platforms to answer a question, maybe not. Don't get me. I love you, TikTok. I bow down. Okay. So last thing, just zooming in on the daily. I just saw this before going live on the daily. I need to find the correct Bitcoin chart. This chart here, this is, the previous all-time high. Oh, here's both our bear flag. Bear flag.
Oh, bear
no.
flag.
I'm
shaking in my boots.
Yeah. As of right now, all we've done is back tested the previous all-time high. I would say that this is on the daily. It's an uptrend. It's just an uptrend. I mean, it doesn't have to continue forever, but it could continue for a very long time. Seeing, oh no, the scorching hot PPI report, we're going into recession, all of that stuff. Guys, we back tested the previous all-time high. The moment of peak fear is behind us. That was the day of the Iran war starting, a Saturday. And that's it. And so there is no greater fear that could be injected in the market, unless it would just be something catastrophic, something once every 20 years, just terror. But even then, I mean, it would have to be like really, really bad. So this is what happens at bottoms. This fear, this just injecting you with as many excuses as possible to sell your crypto, your investments at the worst possible time. That's where we are right now. Go ahead.
And the smug confidence of it too.
Oh yeah, man.
It's not even fear anymore. It's like confidence of like, you're an idiot if you're buying here.
Yeah. The bears always look smarter. They always look smarter. They should not always look smarter, but they do.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to talk about the dreaded bear flag.
Oh no.
You better get ready, Alex, because you're going to be shaking in your boots.
I'm all literally.
Alex is trembling.
You can't see it right now, but like my boots are shaking. All right.
So if I've seen this right here, if I've seen this bear flag one time, I've seen it 10,000 different times on X, on TikTok. It seems like maybe there's like 4 or 5 creators who have their own thoughts and their own opinions, and then everyone else seems to just be regurgitating the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And when people tell me like, oh, but what about the bear flag, Ski? We're going to the scheduled October bottom at 40K. I say that's a popular opinion. And you can take that as respectful, or you can take it as disrespectful. However you like to take it, you can take it. But I'm going to tell you that's a popular opinion. So here is the facts about a bear flag, and you can come to your own conclusion. You can come to your own thesis. All right. This is not a confirmed bear flag, what Bitcoin is showing. And people are like, oh, it's not confirmed. Some silly Willy commented on my video when I was talking about this, about it's not confirmed that LeBron James is going to dunk it. but if I pass him a lob, he's going to dunk it. It's like, no, literally factually, what we're doing right now is Larry Nance Jr. has been on the bench 10 consecutive DNPs, and we're like, but if he gets into the game, he might drop 20. Um, that's a nerdy Cavs reference there for any Cavs fans. But it's okay. So the factual bear flag of what would confirm a bear flag, this is not a confirmed bear flag, would be a break of the neckline with conviction, aka getting below about $62,000 with conviction, meaning it doesn't wick there, it doesn't get bought up in a day or two or three, meaning we are below there firmly, and we are below there firmly for a while. That would be a confirmed bear flag if we were to do that. If we were to go below 61K, which is very possible, but then it doesn't get bought up with volume. Then it doesn't get bought up relatively quickly. Once that happens, you then have a confirmed bear flag. Okay. Once it's a confirmed bear flag, there is now a 70% accuracy of whether or not it will happen or not. So as of right now, there is not a confirmed bear flag. And even when it does, it's one of the least reliable ways of predicting what something's going to do or not going to do. Let me give you, Alex pointed out this morning before we were live. Here is a bear flag that happened right here. And guess what? They were saying the same nonsense. Here we go, boys. Bear flag. See you at 12K. I'm not buying that.
That looks very similar to today's chart.
This is exactly what they were saying in 2022. This is a bear flag. Here's your bear flag, which it didn't even break the neckline. Same thing. The exact same thing happened. We had a bear flag. Everyone was saying that we're going to 12K, we're going to 10K because of the bear flag or the gay flag or whatever. It doesn't matter. Let me know when BlackRock, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Chase, Vanguard, when they start trading bear flags, let me know. Because until then, it's just ridiculous. And as far as the war goes, like people, I already saw someone in the comments talking about like we haven't experienced maximum fear with literally World War III starting. We have been in extreme fear for like 8 consecutive weeks. There's only been a period, which my thoughts on extreme fear and greed are, it really doesn't tell you a lot of data except the extremes, and except when you are in the extremes for an extended period of time. And the fact is, we have been in extreme fear since November, other than a 2-week period in January, not even a 2-week period, a 1-week period in January, we were above it. And then from that time until now, we have been in extreme fear the entire time. And then we got all the way to 5 when World War III kicked off. And I need you guys to understand, since the war kicked off, Bitcoin is up 14%. That is a year of stock market. That's 2 years of stock market gains. If you did 14% over your stocks, you are happy because you're literally beating the S&P 500. Bitcoin right now, since the war has started, is up 14%. Okay, from the pullback that we've had from where the war started to the pullback that we have right now, where the bears are talking about the bear flag, we're up 14% right now. Okay, this 100% was maximum capitulation. When you look at the volume, volume speaks volumes. I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. When you see crazy volume like this, we have not had this level of volume come in on the daily chart since the Mount Gox since the Japan rate cut fiasco. We have not had this level of volume. So we had a huge sell volume, wick down, liquidity sweep, followed by an immediate buyback. This is the type of behavior you get at bottoms. This is exactly what happened with FTX when we went to zero. Guess what? You had the exact same thing happen with it, with your beloved bear flag was taking place. You had a huge sell-off. You had a huge amount of sell volume, followed by an immediate buy volume, followed by an immediate buy candle. Okay? And I'm not showing my chart. Dang it. But there you go. So there, the crazy sell off candle with the immediate buyback. That's the exact same thing that happened, and I've made the case that the November was our Luna, or excuse me, April was our Luna. April tariffs was our Luna crash, and the February war, World War III, was our FTX collapse because there's a major divergence happening with Ethereum. Um, Again, Bitcoin is down 17% from the April lows. Let me get a cleaner chart here. Bitcoin's down 17% from the April lows, and Ethereum is up 23% from the April lows. Okay, that is a major, 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 major deal. And like Alex is talking about the 200 weekly moving average, even if you go below it, like historically, if you just bought the 200 weekly moving average, you are killing the game.
Yeah.
Um, even last time was the worst time ever, and I've made the case of why it was so bad because it was the 7th year, and because they purged Voyager, they purged BlockFi, they purged Celsius, they purged FTX, they purged all these different institutions. Silicon Valley Bank went to zero. We were in a recession. All these things happened because it was on the 7th year. That it's not going to happen this time. Even so, had you just bought the 200 week moving average last time, you bought the average price of $24,000. Are you happy with a $24,000 Bitcoin price right now?
No, I could have gotten 16.
You could have got 16. So there you go. Bitcoin's down 17% from the April lows. Ethereum is up 23% from the April tariff lows. And the exact same thing happened in 2022. This is a major, major bearish divergence. This is why I think that the Luna was our April, as the World War III was our FTX. That's where I think that we're at. I don't think it's off the Neverland. So there you go, 13%. I think it's going to be more similar to 2023 when you just kind of gruel your way up, putting in higher lows. Everyone is team bull, everyone is team bear, no one is team crab. But in reality, I think that that's more in line what we're going to do. I think we're going to gruel our way to the 80s and to the 90s, putting in higher highs and higher lows. Weekly chart here. I want to show this too. This is a big deal. The MACD on the weekly chart is about to cross to the upside for the first time since the April lows. Okay. We have not crossed the upside since the April lows. Before that was the Japan lows. Before that, when we crossed the upside, was after the war in Israel and Iran started back in 2023. We're about to cross the upside. Look at the history of like how Bitcoin interacts when it crosses to the upside. Also, like Alex talked about, us being on top of the 200 week moving average. I do not want to be cute. Okay. And it's already at 59,000. Probably this week, it's going to be at probably closer to 60,000, maybe 59,500 or something like that. We're about to get it closed in 2 days here. I don't want to be cute. Like, if you just buy around the 200 moving average, you're getting a good price throughout the entire history. There's only ever been one time that we're even below it at all, and it wasn't even significant. You would have bought $24,000 if had you just bought around the 200 last time. In 2018, 2019, you literally were buying the bottom. In 2015, the same thing. So if you're near the 200, it's a good buy. And I don't care if there's a bull flag, a bear flag, a crab flag, a Trump flag, a World War III flag. I don't care. If you're near the 200, it's a good value. We're about to flip bullish on the MACD, and look at how long we have been in the red on the MACD here. Since August of 2025, this has been red. How many weeks is that? Like, we have never been this long in the red for this long. 29 consecutive weeks. The MACD has been in the red. And like, look through the history and let me know when you find a time when we've ever been this oversold for this long. Spoiler alert, it never has happened ever in the history of ever where Bitcoin has been this oversold for this long. And guess what that means? The market is all about balance. For every yen that is in the market, there is a yang that will proceed. That doesn't mean off to Neverland. It doesn't mean new all-time highs. It doesn't mean go pick out your Lamborghini tomorrow. But it means that we have been oversold for an extended period of time. And it is now the popular take to call for a bear flag, to call for one leg down. I scroll on X for 3 minutes and I will find 17 different bear flags posts talking about we're going to 50K, we're going to 38K, we're going to 40K, whatever the case may be. I am seeing it non-stop. And I can assure you the popular take is one leg lower. Not only is it the popular take, it is the smug confidence of Nana Boo Boo, stick your face in doo doo. We'll see. That makes me, really, really confident. And then the last thing I'll talk about as far as with Bitcoin, we talked about this on our last live stream, the posture of the 5-hour moving average. We even talked about back testing the 200 on the 5-hour, which is literally exactly what happened. I pulled the fractal. Let me find the one where I have a fractal. One of these I have a fractal from the 100 moving average. And I talked about it in my live stream. It's not really a prediction so much as it is the posture, showing the posture of how. Here we go. Here it is. So I pulled this fractal right here from the 100 moving average. And it's not the prediction of how it's going to behave, but it's more the posture of the two biggest key levels, in my opinion, on any time frame. Daily 100 or daily, weekly, 5-hour, 3-hour, 30-minute, 50. It doesn't matter. The 100 and the 200 are the biggest levels. And what you see is when the posture is sloping down like this, it takes a few interactions with it before you can actually break above it. So first example here, the 100 moving average right here, we came up to it, big rejection, higher low, came up to it again, rejection, higher low, broke above it, back tested it, and then you get a breakout. Once you get a breakout, you then get a back test of the prior range. So I pulled the fractal and I talked about the 200. I said, hey, we have the exact same posture as we had on the 100 over here. This needs to flatten itself out before we can actually clear it. And I pulled the fractal from the 100 and I spread it out a little bit. And here you go. Like, this has been up here for a few days now. Let me stretch it a little bit here. But there you go. Like, this is the fractal from the 100 that I pulled. And again, it's not really the prediction. It's not really a measurement of prediction, but it's a measurement of showing you how they interact with the posture versus the posture it needs to be, aka flat, before you can actually clear it. And so this is what we thought would happen. We came up, big rejection, back test, came up, rejection, back test, rejection, or break above, back test, big break above, and then a big back test. The exact same thing happened over here with the 100. And then we can see, like, now the 200 is on the bottom and the 20 is on top. The 100 is third. That's the most bullish posture. And we can see that the 200 is no longer sloping down. It is completely flat, which is the posture that you want before you can clear it. So I think, it's probably going to gruel its way up. It's not going to be a straight line, probably take a few weeks to kind of really accumulate its way out of here before we put in another high. But I think the next high that we put in, it's going to impulsively go to the low $80,000 range. And I'm open-minded still that Bitcoin could sweep the liquidity and put in a slight low. I have limit orders at 58K. I have limit orders at 62K. And I've been DCAing publicly since the beginning of February. And I plan to be 100% allocated into the market by April 1st. So my average price right now on Bitcoin is about $64,000. My average price on XRP right now is about $1.30. And I'm happy with those prices. And I'm happy to keep accumulating at these prices. And I'll be DCAing daily until April 1st. That is when I will be theoretically out of dry powder. So that is my thoughts on the market. That's what I think that we're going to do. I feel 98% sure that Ethereum has already bottomed 1741. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I feel 95% sure XRP has already bottomed. I think we got to $1.11, $1.12. I think that's it. And then the Bitcoin, I think it's probably about 70% that we sweep the liquidity, 70% that we don't sweep the liquidity, but it's still a possibility because that's exactly what happened with when FTX happened. I'll show this one time and then I'll pass the mic back. But the event that took place was FTX right here. 17.8 was where we went to. There was no event that took place on the 22nd, but we swept the liquidity and we made a new low technically by a couple $100s. So I'm open minded to something like that happening, but that happened 2 weeks later. It's already been
Yeah.
6 weeks since that happened. So since our
Man,
big liquidity happened,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's 6 weeks, man.
that's a long time.
Yeah.
That's enough time to accumulate.
Yeah.
Um,
Question for you. This is something I've been contemplating. Let's say we do have a repeat of 2023, where we're just grinding higher. So for people listening, I know what's going to happen in one regard. If that's what the case is, there's still going to be people screaming that we're going lower. So what price point do you think people would stop screaming?
100K.
Man, that's exactly so around 100K. I could see that. I mean, for me, the 200-day breaking through that, I'm like, screw you guys. You're wrong. 100, no doubt you're wrong. But I mean, if you think about that, that is your answer. Is why I'm content DCAing right now,
Yeah.
because it's like, what am I going to do? I'm going to wait for 100K for like, oh, all these people I'm listening to. I guess they sounds like they're changing their tune. What they'll do if they are wrong is like they'll do a soft pivot. They'll be
Mhm.
like, well, it's Bitcoin's at 100K. I could see it. That increases the chances in my mind that it has bottomed. But I do think that we'll put in a higher low and it's going to go a lot lower, and then they're going to suck people into that mindset. And then, I think a lot of people are going to be sidelined in a
Yeah.
major way this time
That's
around.
that's what happens every time around. Every
Yeah.
time around, this smug greediness. It's not even fear anymore. It's like a perverted greediness that shows up.
Yeah.
It happens every stinking time. It happened in 2018. It happened in 2022, and I think it's happening again. And it will happen again, whether we're right or not. It will happen again, even if the Bears are right and we go to 48K.
Yeah.
Then what?
I mean, there's people I know calling for 39K, 38. And they'll bring up some fibs and be like, Bitcoin always goes down to 786 fib in the bear market. And I'm like, okay, or I guess I should say the 236, depending on how you look at it. So
Maybe right, but the smart traders I'm with are not buying and they're millionaires. Traders or investors? You're taking investment advice from a trader?
I was going to type a response to this. If somebody says Alex Costa Conda said we bottomed 2 weeks ago. That's an interesting comment. I don't know what to do with that, because we haven't. First of all, I did not say we bottomed. I do think XRP has bottomed. I'm much more convinced now that Ethereum has bottomed. But
I said it 2 weeks ago.
yeah, you said it. But we haven't gone lower since then. So where's the con? It's like, what are you talking
Right.
about?
Like, is he trying to dish you?
I don't know.
Or is he trying to give you your flowers?
I conned you by potentially making you money. All right.
Damn you.
All right. He says he's joking. Okay.
Okay. Uh let's see. What was the price 2 weeks ago? I mean, I was saying that I took a big chunk at Alex is my witness. I took a big chunk so 2 weeks ago where we're at 67K. And then we went to 65K.
Yeah.
But Alex is my witness. I bought XRP with
Oh
limit
yeah.
orders
At the
during this.
bottom.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So
um,
what one thing I will say, when the Iran war got kicked off, I mean, and you were talking about the blood moon and everything, but I was like, this is when Bitcoin is going under 60K. This is when it's putting in a new low. And when I saw that it only got to 63K, I was I that was a shift in my mindset. You know, my certainty of Bitcoin going below 60K um went down significantly at that point. Now I do still believe that's a possibility, but I'm
yeah.
much more closer to 50-50.
My thing is too, yeah, that's a good point. Is like if World War III starting cannot even put in a new low, like what is it going to take? It
A
doesn't
nuke.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so like a nuke happens. Let's play it through. Are you worried about the price of Bitcoin? Because I'm not.
Yeah. I'm worried about
My family.
my family. I'm worried about finding a place where we can survive and have a stable supply of food. So maybe I'll sell everything at that point,
Y-
and if that's the bottom, then I'm a
Yeah,
sucker.
yeah. Like literally, like you just get to this point of selling. Like it's selling exhaustion is what it is. Where we've been in
Yeah,
extreme fear for like 4 consecutive months. We've been um, oversold on the MACD since August of 2025. We get to this place of pure selling exhaustion where World War III starting can literally not even make a lower low. It becomes a game of chicken for me of like it doesn't matter anywhere because if World War III can't put in a new low, the thing that would actually cause a new low, I don't care about Bitcoin. I care about my family.
yeah,
So that's where I'm at with it. Like I just there's no event that can happen between now and 2029 that's gonna make me be like, or 2028, I guess. But it doesn't exist. If World War III can't put in a new low, there's nothing that can happen that I'm worried about the price of Bitcoin.
yeah. I mean, one thing, like even just thinking through my mindset and what I was thinking through in live streams throughout the last few months. You know, there's a comment here. Anyone that's going to sell has already sold surely. I mean, for the most part, like
Yeah,
there was there was a time when I shifted in what I would have said to people as far as like, hey, if you're still holding at this point, you might as well just still hold. Like when Bitcoin was ranging between, you know, it bottomed out at $80,000 in November, got up to 90 something in early January. My mindset was still sell. That's what I was. I go, you know, I get on one-on-one call with a guy and I was like, hey, this is where I think you should sell. Sell at this point, not financial advice. Okay. And now there is no, not coming from me at least, hey, this is where I think you should be making a strategic exit. It is completely, if you're still holding at this point, just hold, man. You know, and the questions there's questions that I'll get during my live stream of you know, should I sell this and buy back lower? And I'm like, no,
see, that's
no.
greed.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it's not even fear anymore. It's just greed. Um, so yeah, the only practical sense to do that is maybe in December if you're buying literally the next day to offset
yeah,
your taxes or something like that. But yeah, I don't think so. I think that there's about a 70% chance that Bitcoin never makes a new low. I think there's a 95% chance that XRP never makes a new low. And I think there's a 98% chance that Ethereum never makes a new low. I feel the most confident that Ethereum has bottomed, second most confident that XRP has bottomed, and then third, that Bitcoin. And
between
even
those three, right? Or just
if,
between all cryptos?
um, I guess like so people keep asking me like why I haven't added Solana because I've made my list of coins I'm accumulating publicly.
Yeah,
People are asking me like why not Solana, and the thing about Solana was like I think it will probably do what everything else does, like what's good for the goose is good for the gander type deal, but
yeah,
the chart I didn't have conviction on its specific chart the same way that I did with Ethereum because
Yeah.
I felt like there was more to give back with Solana, where I didn't feel like that with Ethereum. So I think generally they're all gonna kind of do their own thing together outside of terrible tokenomics or whatever. But
Yeah.
those are the ones that I think matter the most to everything else.
So somebody asked me, I just had an hour and a half of like in between picking up my kids at school and then picking up my dog. We just stayed up at my kid's school and so I just looked at some charts and somebody asked me to look at Solana. And there's three interesting things that I'll point out with Solana. One, it did a perfect bounce off the 236 retrace. So there's that. No, seems like a really solid bottom for a crypto that like in 2022 not many people were sure that Solana was going to come back. In fact, a lot of people were trashing Solana. Sentiment on Solana and at the bear market bottom in 2022 was super low. A lot of people were saying it was going to die. Now we know that it's going to come back. And so the 236 makes sense as a bottom. Number two, the buy volume on the day after that capitulation was stronger than the sell volume the day before. And then
Mm.
number three, looking at the weekly RSI, it might be even lower. It's pretty much right as low as the 2022 bottom on the weekly chart. So anyway, I thought, I'm on record saying that like this was back in like November, December, that I thought Solana was going below $50 or around $50. But I'm a lot less confident about that now.
I think so too. Just I guess what I'm saying is you make a compelling argument too that Solana has bottomed. But I think it's more to do with just the rest of the market.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was making my financial thesis play, I didn't have certainty in Solana the way that I did in Ethereum and
And
XRP.
I
And
think that's the right call.
yeah. So I was just like, I could make a case when I was just doing my charting and making my analysis, like I could make a case that this is the end of, the markdown and that this is, like you're talking about the volume, we could easily retrace, we could easily go into price discovery. You can make that case. And you could also make the case that, that this was
Yep.
distribution
Yep.
and we have more to go and that there's no trading over here.
That's the
Um,
problem with Solana. That's what I've talked about.
So it just wasn't like I like it fundamentally, but I wasn't really willing to make a risk play on it at the
Mhm.
time. But now that Bitcoin's can chop for 6 weeks on top of or I think it's 7 weeks at this point, going on 8, on top of the 200. I think if XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum have bottom, I think it's probably true for Solana as well. So I like Solana fundamentally, but just in my own personal bag, when I was making my own personal thesis on how I was going to deploy the capital that I sold at 100, I was banging the table to sell your freaking silver at $107. And but I'm a permable, that's all I hear is Ski's just a permable, even though silver was one of my biggest overall positions in my entire portfolio. I sold 100% of my silver at I had no more silver at $107. Publicly, video evidence that happened IRL, and I kept saying that this looks like death. And people kept telling me that, but there's so much fundamental reasons why though, Ski. They're gonna mine it to get to Jupiter,
Oh,
and they're
that's
gonna
right.
yeah,
These
there's
AI data centers, man, they're
oh,
using so much silver.
yep.
I warned so many people about the same thing because I got sucked in 2011, and I remember. I mean, just where's the euphoria right now? I actually don't know, but like there was a time I went live and somebody told me with a straight face. I'm assuming I couldn't see their face. Like silver is going nonstop up to $2,000 an ounce, and it's just like I just I don't care about you don't understand, Ski. You don't understand the amount of silver demand right now versus 2 years ago. It's off the charts, and silver is so scarce. I do understand. Because I fell for the same trap 15 years
Yeah,
ago.
yep. But you're in the green now if you hodled.
Barely, but yes. Yeah.
No, this looks like death. Like literally,
Yeah.
we're about to take out this low over here, and we're gonna go test the 200. And then you know what? I might be interested in silver when we start getting into the 50s. That's what I've said the
That's
entire time.
exactly right. Yep.
I've said this whole time, like, so that's where my dry powder came on. That's why I brought up silver, is because I was stacking silver for 8 years and I publicly sold all of it. I took a big chunk at $78, aka the 1618 Fibonacci extension, and I took the rest at the 2618, which was $107. That call was bad for 3 days. For 3 days. That's it.
Yep.
So here's the $107 candle. Then we went up one more candle, then another one, and then off to Hades we went. So
Yeah.
like I don't know what else I can do, but people accuse me of being a perma bull, even though silver is my favorite thing to buy.
So, hey guys, silver has a larger market cap than Bitcoin, and it had a blow off top.
Yep.
FYI, I'm yes, we haven't had a blow off top since 2017, but I'm firmly convinced that Bitcoin will one day have a blow off top again.
It's certainly possible. I will say with silver though, the way it behaves, it's like I don't want to be like, oh, I predicted this, but like literally I did. Like, because when you look at the history of silver,
It has blow off tops.
it doesn't give you distribution. It just
Yeah.
it looks like a meme coin.
Yeah.
Like, look, this looks like a meme coin. And
Yep.
again, silver is my favorite thing to buy, but that's just what it does. It gives you a decade to accumulate plus, then it goes parabolic, and then you better freaking take profit, and
Oh
then you're
yeah.
going to get another decade to accumulate. So that's about where we're about to be. We're about to be in the a decade to accumulate range here pretty soon. So
Maybe. I mean, I would compare this to the 70s, where it had like a big spike and then accumulation for a couple years and then another big spike.
like 73.
Yeah, 73. So I mean, now that you say 73, I know it peaked in 1980 after very long accumulation. Yeah, maybe you're right. So
Damn, it went to 666. The devil. So yeah, there you go. I think probably though, I actually do agree with you, but just generally that's how it plays out, because I think that everything's going to be rocking and rolling into 2029, and I think that that's going to be the big
yeah,
one. So I think silver can probably get to $200 in 2028, 2029.
yeah,
But I think we're going to touch 50 first, and that's where I'm interested in making a play on silver. But I sold all of my silver at $107, and I've been accumulating crypto with that money. So people are like, "Where you still have dry powder?" It's like, yes, because I accumulated silver for a decade.
yeah. Hey, by the way, I've seen the word Shemitah in the wild 2 times now. So you're not the only one.
Maybe I'm just spreading seeds, and
Maybe. Yeah.
Schmetians are growing. No, it's a big thing. Like I've said it. That's been my whole thing the whole time of like why I was certain that 2026 was not going to be the same way as 2022,
Yeah.
because it fundamentally doesn't understand the difference of 2022 was the 7th year cycle, 2026 is not. And basically, we've already hashed this out, but uh there's basically every 7 years there is a purge that takes place. That is not reserved for 2026. That will be reserved for September of 2028 through September of 2029.
But
There will be a
Ski,
purging.
have you not heard of this 4-year halving cycle, Ski? We're supposed to peak in September of 2029. And there's nothing you can do
Here's
about
my
it.
thoughts to the 4-year cycle. We have 16 years of data for the
But
4 years
Ski,
for the 4-year cycle,
the 4-year cycle is undefeated.
and then we have 10,000 years of data
But Ski,
for the 7-year cycle. So 10,000 years of data is greater than 16 years
wait
of
a
data.
second. Wait. Let me pull up the calculator here. You're right. Okay. 10,000 is greater than 16.
Yes, by a crazy degree. And people correctly, I think, want to say that Bitcoin is tied to equities market. we have 100 years of data showing where the equity markets respect the 7th year. So, it's I did not make the rules. I did not make the Shemitah. I'm just paying attention to who's in charge of money and what they believe. Is Solnick worth investment? I am buying daily to Solnick. Period. Says I made it.
Does ski mean top will be in 2029? I'm assuming you're saying 2028, right?
Yeah. My thesis for oversimplification. Okay, we'll do it again. I love doing it.
Okay.
I'm sure Alex is tired of hearing it. He's how many times have you heard it, Alex?
2 dozen. 76, yes. 70 times 7.
All right. Every 7 years is a major purge. 87, Black Monday. 94, the dot-com bubble busted. 2001, 94 was the bond market crash.
Okay.
2001 was the dot-com bubble busting. 9/11 happened. 2008 was the great financial crisis. 2015, the Chinese stock market crash. 2022, recession, Voyager, BlockFi, Silicon Valley Bank in the same Hebrew year. Celsius, all these things were purged. Okay, so the next one is September of 2028 through September of 2029. To me, we will be rocking and rolling into that. It's not going to be a straight line. There's going to be red days. There's going to be red weeks. There's going to be red months. There might even be red quarters. But the general trend is going to be up until that time. And I think personally, that is when the big one starts. That is the top, as in the 100-year top, as in what happened in 1929.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I when things get hot, moral of the story, be like an ant gathering
That's right.
in the summer.
Gather in the summer and be strong. Lift 10 times your body weight.
Yeah. Wait a second. Let me double check. Yeah, 10,000 is greater than 16. All right, now you can.
Are we good? Do we settle that? 50K soon. Popular opinion.
50K. That's it's funny. Before we went live, I opened up my app to open, to go live on TikTok, and that the only comment that I saw on this channel I'm live on was "See you at 50K." So hey, guys, see you at 50K.
Here's a good, interesting comment. I think he says that smug greediness happens in every market, though, not just Bitcoin. I agree. That's why I like Wyckoff, because it understands the apex predator. It understands the predator and prey. And this was created 100 years ago by, to me, the best trader that ever existed. And he understood that the predators prey on people's emotions. And that's why what you're saying, I agree with you. He says all fluctuations in the market in all the various stocks should be studied as if they were the result of one man's operation. Let us call him the composite man, who in theory behind the scene manipulates the stocks to your disadvantage if you do not understand the game as he plays it, and to your great profit as you do. What is the game as he plays it? The game is making people fearful / perverted greed at the bottom and euphoric at the top. That's the game. And that game has existed for thousands of years, and that game will continue to exist. So I agree with you. That happened in silver. Same thing. People kept telling me in silver why AI aliens are going to be using silver, and we're going to go straight to 200, and there's no way that we're coming back, or there's no possible way. The greed showed up just the same way, even if I was showing the monthly chart and showing that, hey, this is the hottest that we've been on the monthly chart since 1979. Even when I said that 632 times, it did not matter. The AI aliens are going to use this to whatever. They're going to use silver. They're going to build new electric cars, and they're going to build AI data centers, and they're going to build rocket ships to go to Jupiter, and all this crazy stuff of why silver is going to keep going. And alas, here we are. So
there we go.
You're very vague with what you actually think will happen. I listened to you. Okay, brother. I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Because publicly, with video evidence, I literally said exactly what I would be doing. I said that I had limit orders before the February 5th crash for Bitcoin. I said that I still have limit orders on Bitcoin and XRP at 88 cents and 58K and 62K. And I said publicly, around the lunar eclipse, how many times did I talk about the lunar eclipse before it happened? Where I said, hey, this is, I think, going to be our window of energy where there's going to be something that happens, and then that's going to be it. And guess what? World War III happened. And then I even said publicly exactly what my plan was to be DCAing into XYZ coin 1% daily until a major event happens. If a major event happens, then I will accelerate it to 3% daily. I plan to be 100% allocated into the market by April 1st. I don't know how much more I can hold your hand, brother.
Ski, I'm so confused. I'm joking.
It's very vague for
Yeah.
me to say that I'm DCAing into coins until April 1st. I am selling 100% of my silver at $107 to buy crypto because I think it's the better value. Very vague. Very, very vague. I have, here we go. So February 24th, this is pretty vague. Alex, would you agree? I'm pushing the chips forward.
Wait, what are you doing with the chip?
I'm pushing the chips forward,
Okay.
Alex. Let me be clear. I have no interest in buying the wick dollar low. I want to be in the correct flavor like last bear market where I averaged $22,000 Bitcoin and 33-cent XRP. I will be DCAing 1% daily until the 15th. Why the 15th? Because that's the window of the new moon or the blood lunar eclipse. By the way, on February 4th, did the war happen yet, Alex? Let me know. Did the war kick off?
When I don't even remember. No, it didn't.
It did not happen.
Okay.
After the 15th, if a big event has not happened, I will be more aggressive. If a big event happens now, between now and then, I will accelerate DCA. In addition to this, I have limit orders of 62K and 58K. Still haven't been filled, by the way. Do with this information what you will. That's pretty vague.
So, I mean, you laid out your strategy, very clear. You have invalidations where you take advantage of, okay, I was wrong, and yet here we go. I've set my limit orders and I have buys ready. And so whether you're right or wrong, will you end up winning in the end? You will. I won't force you to say it. You will end up winning. And people have the audacity to come into your live streams or whatever and mock you when you have demonstrated over and over again that, like, all right, yeah, I saw this all, when you sold, when you bought, when you sold. I saw when you sold your XRP. I saw when you sold your silver. I mean, I literally didn't see you. I had to take your word for it, but here we are. Go. You wrecked your followers, Ski.
January 25th, 2025. Check the price of XRP.
Now, the ones who bought the peak in March of 2024 or November and December of 2025, 2024, like, you bought you bought at the wrong time. I don't know what to say.
Listen, like, I'm a lot of things, but vague is not one of them.
Yeah. It's difficult having been in here in 2022 and buying the bottom in 2022 and locking in gains, making gains. Like, I feel for those who did not buy in 2022, but here you are now. For the 57 of you watching on TikTok, at least my live stream, I don't that might be the same for both of us.
53 for me.
All right. And the 29 watching on YouTube. And there's a reason, like, why there's so few people here, because it's like the ones who are going to get wrecked are not here right now.
Yeah.
Like, you have a much better chance of winning, but it's going to be much more difficult to win if you're just going to wait for the scheduled bottom, or for Bitcoin to go lower, for crypto to go lower. Can it happen? Sure. But, like, the only way that like you're for sure going to win, I never say for sure on anything, so let me back up on that, is if you're just in general, how about that? In general, a buyer now. That would be fantastic if Bitcoin already bottomed. If it goes lower, in general, I will be a buyer.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, it's going lower. Cut the BS. It's a popular opinion, Jay. We'll see.
And if you're right,
Who cares?
we're going to win.
I'm still going to be buying. That's the thing. If I'm dead wrong, laughably, guess what? I will still be buying.
The worst case scenario, if it goes lower, is winning.
My average price, even with this reaccumulation, is still like 20 something $1,000. Because I was buying in 2018. I was buying in 2017. I bought the top in 2017. I bought the bottom in 2018. I didn't buy the top in 2021. I did buy the top on some things in 2025. But I relatively took profit and bought the bottoms ranges every single time. 2017, I did not. I did buy the absolute top in 2017 on everything. I'm still down on Dash to this day. I'm still down on EOS to this day. So 2017, I did not. And I like to share that story too, is like, hey, every mistake you can possibly make, I did it.
Yep, okay? Me too.
I'm not sitting here as like the guy who never has been caught with my pants down. Okay. Like I've made mistakes. I've done all of the worst things. And I share that experience as like, I bought into the FOMO in 2017. Okay. It happened. I bought into the FUD in 2018, 2019. It happened. Right. Of like, we are going lower. And then I read the Bitcoin Standard and I said, I don't care.
There we go.
I don't care if we go lower. And I started buying and I started making my investment thesis. I've sent whole Bitcoins off to the ether. I promise you Bitcoin's not going to zero. I made certain of it. I've sent whole Bitcoins off to the ether. I've made every single mistake. I bought the top. I've sold the bottom. I've I've sent Bitcoins off to the ether. I've had every mistake. I've done it all. But I share that as not as the answer, but as someone who's been in this game for a decade and knows what maximum fear looks like, knows what maximum euphoria looks like. Do I get everything right? Of course not. That's silly. That's ridiculous. But does my track record of the whole totality, good and bad, just stand for itself? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Your 2017 was my 2011 with silver.
Yeah.
And so I remember 2017, I barely owned any crypto in 2017, but I was very much paying attention to it. And I was like, people getting sucked in right now are going to get wrecked. And the only reason why I knew that
because you got wrecked.
Yes, because I got wrecked in 2011.
Yeah. You have to like, it's weird. It's like, unless you have someone like a mentor or something like really holding your hand and coaching you through it, you have to just experience that. And then not only do you have to experience it, but you then have to double down and learn and grow from it. That's the only way to like, evolve to the next level. But what people do is they get uninformed optimism. And what they do is they get wrecked at the top. They go to the next shiny object thing, whether it's oil now or it was silver last month or whatever the case may be. And we keep doing these things over and over and over again. Then they get wrecked on that. We go to the next thing. We get wrecked on that. We go to the next thing. Instead of just doubling, tripling down and really working on your craft and perfecting your game, perfecting your thesis, your investment analogy, like why it is that you hold, what it is you hold, all of those things. Until you do that and learn from your mistakes, you're going to keep repeating them.
Hey, let me respond to a comment. I saw you posted, Dave's comment. I'll read that. That's a good one. 95% likelihood too that these fools waiting for 30K wouldn't even buy. Yeah, because there's always going to be people calling for lower. Always at the bottom, people will be calling for lower. I wanted to just respond to Cody's comment here. Want to push back on the whole quote, everyone thinks we're going lower, end quote. CT sentiment has been 50-50 for the last few months. Also, a lot of the comments to your guys' post saying lower are bots. That last comment, maybe, I don't know, the whole bot stuff. But I want to give a response to that. I've seen 50-50 sentiment. I do agree with you that it's been more 50-50 on X at least, The thing that I would say in response to that is that it is the level of like, no doubt, we are absolutely going lower. That's the vibe that I get from the 50 who are on the side of that we're going lower, is that there's zero taking into account anything. Like, it's just, my last month has been like, here's a lot of data. Here is data. Let me give you these 50, like literally somewhere between 20 and 50 points of data communicating that this, where we are right now, is actually very similar to June and July of 2022, not January or February of 2022 or March. Like, we're much ahead of schedule. And the response every time is, no, bro, 4-year cycle. There's no other argument. And it's like, the response is, I will not even consider any of these data points, and I'm going to blindly follow my own thing, which is just what the masses, I am going to say, the general crowd, the general retail crowd who doesn't really pay much attention to crypto, they're going to think, oh yeah, or every 4 years. Okay, so we'll buy the bottom in October, November. So that's the problem with the 50 on the other side.
Yeah. My feed is not 50-50. It's like 80-20 at best. And I
Okay.
would say the ones that I'm seeing, but I don't follow like delusional bulls though. So, but I would say the 50 or the 20 that I'm seeing is more hopium,
Yeah, you got
rather
to
than
discern
like,
between that.
rather than like what people's actual real thoughts are, which is
Yeah,
what I think the bear posting is.
that's a good point, because, well, all right, so, but like, also the 50, within the 50 of the bullish people, it's the same old accounts that just nonstop post
Yeah.
bullishness and have 400,000 followers on X.
Right.
And like, those guys don't count. They're just, that's how they have made their followings.
Right. It's
They're
like
just,
Peter Schiff and Bitcoin. Like,
yeah,
I don't care what Peter Schiff says about Bitcoin. Like, it's the same thing to me.
yeah,
So, but I would say, like, from my perspective, the general vibe is a smug arrogance of
yep,
lower.
no doubt.
That is the overwhelming majority of people's actual opinions, across platforms,
Yeah,
TikTok, YouTube. Like, I literally just said factually about a bear flag. What I just posted a video factually. What is a bear flag? What confirms it? And what is the likelihood that it plays out? And then someone said it's like saying it's LeBron James layup, when I literally said, here's what confirms it, aka you have to break the neckline. So it's not a confirmed bear flag at this point right now in time. Um, Once you break the neckline, though, you then have you have to break it with conviction. And then after you then do that, you then have a 70% chance. And someone was like, just all over my comments, just talking the craziest thing of like, oh yeah, that's like saying LeBron James is going to do a slam dunk. It's like, no, it's not like saying that at all. It's not the same thing at all. So again, the smug arrogance um, is pretty crazy to me at this point.
yes.
Thanks for that word, Ski. I don't know what word.
Yeah, that was a few minutes ago. It was before I started talking, before I responded about the whole 50-50 thing. Whatever you said before then, it was a good word. I don't remember either, but it was a good word.
It was so good that we already forgot. uh, was it the TA or the actual vocabulary that I used?
It was just, it was inspiring. It wasn't TA.
Okay.
So.
All right. I guess we have just all this year to accumulate.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. I think that it's more similar to 2023. Like, here's what I disagree with, and I'll push back. Like, because I don't think that no one's team crab.
Yeah.
It's all team bull. It's all team bear. It's all, we're either going to 30K or we're going to 500K. There's nothing in between. And where I reside right now is we are going to behave like 2023, where it's just kind of a grueling up, and it will be slowly and then it will be suddenly. That is
Yeah.
what I think is going to happen. So I think we're in the grueling up phase, in my
So
opinion.
what I would say is like it depends on the crypto for the most part. I like on this side of $100,000, I think a lot of the mid or small caps will just be pretty flat. But then Bitcoin, once people like it kind of makes sense to me when people realize, oh wait, it's over, the bear market's over. That's when those junk coins will start moving.
Right. Yeah, when it starts to, but I think that, the February 5th was basically in here, and I don't like this is so recency bias. I teach against people even talking about it in the first place. But just for oversimplification, like I think February, the Iran war was our FTX, and
Yeah.
we're somewhere in here. We're about to pop to the 80K, and then we'll just be putting in grueling up, chopping sideways and up. Which is more of a crab market. It's not really a bull market, but the start of a bull market, though, actually is factually at the bottom, not at the top. Not when Bitcoin gets above 100K, when people will realize it. But
Yeah.
factually at the bottom is when a bull market starts.
Yep.
But I don't think it's off the Neverland. That's not what I'm predicting. All right. I don't even need to know what you said. All right, guys. That's going to be it for this time. Appreciate you guys. If you want lifetime access to the Telegram group where we do live trading, you can hit me in the DMs. I also have, if you want to book a consultation, get a portfolio review, entry strategy, exit strategy, some one-on-one coaching, you can book me for that. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, at Yaboyskey, Yaboyskey, and at World War Bitcoin on every platform. We will never message you first. Those are scammers, for the love of God. Do
You
not get
messaged me
scammed.
this week.
I did. I
Yeah.
did message Alex, actually. Damn it.
Yeah. You 99.999% of the time, we will not message you.
I will never message you first and ask you for money. How about
Okay,
that?
there we go.
I'm not a prince in Zimbabwe who just needs to get home to my palace or whatever the hell. Like, none of that's happening. Okay. I'm not going to message you first and ask you for money.
All right.
All right, guys.